On the screen right here, you see a chart. It's Bitcoin trading at around $3,500 in December 2018 at the beginning of the bear market formation, the bottom of the bear market for Bitcoin. This is what the chart that I charted looked like then. This is what it looks like now. So here is 2018 when I charted this chart, and this is how it has played out. We have the bull market high kind of going into May 2021, November 2021, all the way back down to this key 786 line. Do you see how well this played out? We did not quite hit the $90,000 area, but we got this swing high to around 70,000, and we've come back down to this key 786 line. This is where we are right now going into the fall of 2022. This chart playing out almost perfectly. The reason I'm bringing this up is because as of lately, we've been monitoring the S&P 500 index. We've been monitoring the stock markets, and we've been talking about the correlation between the stock market and Bitcoin. And there's no doubt that Bitcoin and the stock market have been heavily correlated. But in this video, I want to explore the possibility that they're not as correlated as we might think they are, and it stems all the way back to this chart that I did back here, the cycles of Bitcoin. We anticipated this entire move, not perfectly, but pretty precisely, and it had nothing to do with the stock market. It had nothing to do with equity markets or anything else going on. It had everything to do with two things: the technicals, the technical analysis, and the Bitcoin halving. Bitcoin halving less than 2 years away right now as I do this video, and here we are now on this long-term zoomed out chart, and you see this line over here, 2024 Bitcoin getting close. So let's start real quick by analyzing and getting kind of this first potential reason why Bitcoin might not be so closely correlated with the stock market. So here's the stock market. Here's S&P 500. Look at the 2018 bear market, for instance. And when I say 2018 bear market, you see this on the screen right here. I'm talking about Bitcoin's bear market. It pretty much happened within this trading of the stock market. And you can see the stock market saw a nice little dip into 2018. Bitcoin, we know, did pretty much the same exact thing, December 2018. So this is partly where we get a lot of correlation, right? But notice where Bitcoin is doing this right here. This is like 800 some days after Bitcoin halving of 2016. Now, what I want to do is I want to go to S&P 500 and I want to zoom out even more. And I want to go back to 2015 bear market. And again, on this S&P 500 chart where we show the bear market, 2015, this is referring to Bitcoin's bear market. And if we go look at Bitcoin's bear market in 2015, let's scroll back and you can see it all the way back here in green. This is its bear market formation all the way back here. Here's the 2015 low. If we look at that, and this entire move, this huge dip, let's look at one thing that was not happening on S&P 500. So this is from December 2013 to January 2015. Check this out. December 2013 to January. Well, this is going all the way to June 2015. You can see S&P 500 not in a bear market. S&P 500 in an uptrend, very much hitting all-time highs as Bitcoin forming its bear market. So on a macro scale, I mean, right there, you can see Bitcoin not perfectly correlated to the stock market. But let's note what Bitcoin was doing. Bitcoin was, when it was forming this bear market formation, after this huge dip, Bitcoin was 700 to 800 days post the 2012 halving. So not exactly halfway through these halvings, it seems, is when Bitcoin seems to be bottoming out and forming its bear market formation. Here we are again, 2016, going into kind of the middle of the two halvings, Bitcoin bottoming out right there. And then here we are again, this time around, this cycle around, and we have the 2020 halving, Bitcoin around 750 days or so, right in the middle of the two halvings. Once again, Bitcoin potentially finding its bottom right at this 786 line that I talked about all the way back here in 2018. Look at this. It had not happened yet, but here it is on the chart. Bitcoin retracing to that line in the middle of these two halvings, these two halving events. Now, when I charted that, I just want to note, I explained all the reasons behind it. Putting aside some of the technical analysis aspects, there was one really big piece to the puzzle, and that is the pattern of 3 events. Number 1, the halving. The amount of brand new mined Bitcoin is cut in half for miners. Also, the price earned for mining 1 Bitcoin is also cut in half. All-time high, 1 year after the halving, you see Bitcoin reaching new all-time high. And then 3, after all-time high is reached, you see a consolidation and a sell-off in Bitcoin price. This is the correction phase. So it goes halving, all-time high, and then correction. And here we are on the zoomed out chart. We have the correction happening. What is next? We have the halving, we have all-time high, we have correction. What is next is the halving. Now, it's important to note that though we are hitting this bottom area of the bear market for Bitcoin, Bitcoin has a tendency to hang out in this area for a while, to consolidate, to form structure, to trade sideways. While we might have put in a very important swing low in the bear market bottom, there is a huge case that Bitcoin just trades sideways and is volatile and tests these previous swing lows once again. I mean, you go back and we can look at 2015 bear market low. Just look at the volatility involved there. And then we do take all of these other factors. We do take equity markets. We do take what's going on in the world. We do take inflation and rising interest rates into account. But right now, Bitcoin is continually following this pattern of having correction all-time high, having correction all-time high. And right now, even in the chaos of the world, even with the chaos of inflation and rising interest rates, Bitcoin is following almost perfectly to what I charted back here in 2018 when Bitcoin was around $3,500. The question, the data that we're going to track and follow is, will it continue? For instance, will the 786 and even maybe trading slightly below it, will that hold for Bitcoin in this Bitcoin bottom formation? And that's what I'll be watching. I really just wanted to briefly share this with you. Everybody, at the end of the day, all we can do is be careful. All we can do is monitor this data, track it alongside all of the other data that's going on in the world, and anticipate all scenarios. On a macro view, that's what we're doing, but the consistency here cannot be ignored. And if this consistency holds true for Bitcoin, there's a huge case that Bitcoin is not as correlated to the stock market as we might have thought. 2015 is a perfect example of how that could be. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please hit the subscribe and like. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have an awesome week. God bless.